I mean, she's on track to be the greatest of all time.
Watching little girls look at the court and go, that could be me someday.
But those three, what do you think of those three?
So the reason why they've started watching and supporting WNBA and women's basketball is because of Angel Reese. 60%. That's huge.
I imagined it would be as much Caitlin as her.
If they stay, they're going to be the Mount Rushmore of the aces. What are the numbers they're talking about for some of the salaries?
They haven't got that far.
There's been some rumours and they're talking in the millions.
We're talking multi-million.
I have a big crush on. Welcome back to the Sixth Woman Basketball Podcast. I'm Beza and I'm here with my good friend and soon-to-be bestie, Tony Hallam.
Hey Bez, how you been?
I'm good. How have you been? How's the weekend?
The week's been good. We had a big weekend of basketball. Had a couple of games on Saturday we went to. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Mm-hmm. We'll talk a little bit about a movie that I went to see. I reckon we should wrap up a bit on the WNBA Finals because they sort of came and went.
I feel like that didn't get enough attention.
No, and also, maybe with the Cheryl stuff and Nafisa and so on. So we'll focus a bit on that dynasty that was created.
Absolutely.
Talk a little bit about first impressions of the new WNBL, which is pretty cool. Had a big weekend.
Great start.
And then just some stuff around what's happening. Project B, we'll talk about.
Worldwide.
Some import signings in the WNBL and just maybe some of the stuff that's starting in Europe and China and so on. So, yeah.
Well, I want to talk about Angel Reese.
I know you do, and I'm going to tell you a little story.
I'm always going to want to talk about her, so please tell me your story time.
Well, I'm a bit of a convert. I reckon you've changed my view, as in shifted my view.
Yeah.
And forget Caitlin versus Angel or whatever. Let's talk about Angel. So I had a really interesting experience on that. So first of all, Victoria's Secret runway. I'm going to ask you about that in a minute. But I went to a movie on Sunday night with my daughter, a movie called The House of Diamond.
Yes.
The House of Dynamite, I should say. Idris Elba, amazing cast. And who's in the middle of it but Angel Reese. And she was, first of all, playing herself, sort of in a basketball charity clinic for kids. But she was just fantastic, to be honest. And in the movie, I'm thinking, I just didn't know she was in it.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, this is an incredible movie. Netflix, being released on Netflix on Friday. Mm-hmm. So tell me about the last week for her, because and I know we talked about her in the earlier podcast.
Briefly, we did, yes. Look, I like that you prefaced the let's not try and, Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark. It's not always about competition. It's not always about who's best, but it's about how different women and different athletes impact the game in different ways. And my conversation last time was that the way Caitlin's done it is different to the way Reese has done it. But I think doing it, sorry. And I think Reese is just not getting the recognition she deserves, whereas Caitlin is. And Caitlin is an incredible player and is doing amazing things, so she deserves that recognition. But for whatever reason, Angel's not getting it in the same way, and she's receiving way more backlash. So,
well, let's recap a little bit. Tell us a little bit about Victoria's Secret, because that's a really unique. A year
ago, she. I watched a video yesterday, and she said, "I manifested this." And I remember seeing videos about a year ago where she said, "Someday I'm going to do the Victoria's Secret runway show," and she also said, "I'm going to be on the cover of Vogue," and she's achieved both those things, which is very rare as an athlete, let alone a female athlete, to be on the cover of Vogue and to be in the Victoria's Secret runway. She looked stunning. She looked beautiful.
I say it? So I'm a.
You're allowed to say that she looked beautiful. I'd be upset if you didn't.
She was just beautiful.
Yeah.
And Victoria's Secret has evolved itself over the last 10 years.
It's had so much criticism over the years, but it has changed.
But why do you think people hate on her? Because it just seemed to me like something to celebrate.
Absolutely. I think part of it is to do with the world not being able to embrace confidence in the same way with different people. And depending who brings that confidence and that energy, it gets taken in a very different light. And I think an easy one to explain it was, is it Lyle? Noah Lyle, who's a sprinter from the US. There's a level of ego and confidence that was coming from him before all those achievements were being made. Whereas you've got others who are a lot more silent in their movement, silent in their achievements and their expression of how they achieve things. And I think when it comes to females in general, we're expected to be more meek and mild. And when you see us being loud and
or just
strong, it's seen negatively. And I think the beautiful thing with Angel and with some of these female athletes is they're showing strength in beauty, or beauty in strength. And being an athlete, you've got an athlete's body, but you're still a woman, and you're able to go and be feminine and be beautiful, and showcase a different side of yourself that people don't see on the court. And I think that juxtaposition of an athlete on the court and then a runway model, regardless of what they're wearing, it's so different. And some people can't comprehend that. Like, what, you can be into multiple things. You can like multiple things. You can be feminine and you can be a boss ass athlete. That's crazy. It's not. It's just that some personality types make it easier to accept than others. And Reese has been confident from the beginning. I want to just say a couple stats about her when it comes to how she's been, not just on the court.
And then we might talk a little bit about how lucky the game is to have two
Absolutely.
people like.
Absolutely. So when it comes to her social presence and what she's achieved, even in the last 18 months, at the moment she's got 4.2 million followers on Instagram. She's had an extra million since the NCAA Finals.
Is that right?
An extra million just since those finals. Top 5 in all colleges, nil earnings, her valuation's over 1.8 million. First year WNBA, in her first year, her WNBA jersey sold out online within 48 hours.
Wow.
That alone should be celebrated.
They need more jerseys, though.
Absolutely. According to the Sports Business Journal for the 2025 article, nearly 60% of Gen Z WNBA fans say Angel Reese was their entry point to the league. So the reason why they've started watching and supporting WNBA and women's basketball is because of Angel Reese. 60%. That's huge.
It is huge. In fact, that number probably surprises me, to be honest. I imagined it would be as much Caitlin as her. My reflection on it, I have thought a bit about this particularly since the conversation we had earlier. I just think the women's game is fortunate and should recognise how fortunate to have 2 or 3 or 4, because Paige Beckers will be another one who comes through in a different way.
She's fantastic.
So, and this is all good for the growth, because one of the things that you just have to have more eyeballs, people noticing, watching. And what struck me about seeing her in those 2 things in the last week was she's mainstream. Yeah. And that is incredible.
She's managed to commercialise her, in a good way, her personality, her brand. She's not there will be people that will know her not because of basketball.
Yeah.
And that in itself is incredible. You look at the LeBrons and the Kobes and all the sort of things they've managed to achieve outside of the game. These WNBA athletes, they have the opportunity to do that if they have, one, the right branding, the right marketing, the right agents and teams working with them. And if they've got a personality like Reese, why would you hide that? Why would you sit back and let the world take that away from you just so that you can fit into the box that they want you to fit in as you're an athlete, be an athlete?
So it'll be interesting what she does in the off-season, because she's not playing it doesn't appear like she's going to play in Unrivaled. And the other bit is, I imagine, she's had a very big 5 years on the court. So let's follow that. Lots to follow.
I'll be following.
I know you will be, and I will be too. Mm-hmm. Let's move on to the WNBA Finals, which sort of came and, as we talked, came and went like a flash. And obviously the Aces win in 4 games.
Dare we say they are a dynasty team?
They are a dynasty. 3 titles in 4 years. Off the back, let's say, of 4 people leading that franchise. So Becky Hammond is the head coach. But the big 3, AJ Wilson, Jackie Young and Chelsea Gray. A little bit of background. So they lose Kelsey Plum, who was the 4th musketeer, if you like.
She is amazing.
She is amazing. She goes to LA at the start of the season, or in the trade in the start of the season. But just a couple of stats on. So they win 4-0. They fortunate to win, maybe not fortunate to win, but win game 1 very tight. And the series just got some momentum as they went. But here's some numbers for you, Bez. So those big 3 had 60% of their team's rebounds, 70% of their assists, and 70% of their point scoring. Now, they were complemented by a couple of bench players. Dana Reeves Evans came on and had a really terrific game 1, and Jewel Lloyd was actually good right through the season.
I have a big crush on Jewel Lloyd. I think she's fantastic.
But those 3, what do you think of those 3?
they're going to create outside of being a dynasty. If they stay, they're going to be the Mount Rushmore of the Aces. Their chemistry as a team is incredible, and you see that on the court, you see that on camera, on the sidelines. There's so many videos of the three of them together, just messing about, laughing. That trust that they have is so.
Do you like the tambourine?
I love it. I love it. I mean, I think if we keep going, I'm going to end up having a tambourine on this table. You're probably going to get annoyed. But it's joyful to watch. Their personalities are great. They love the game. And I just love the strength that they bring. I've seen them when they played, they were in the USA team and they played in Sydney a couple of years ago. Yep. And I'm in awe of them. But it's the chemistry. That's what gets me the most about them. When they play together, is their chemistry.
So you can't go past Asia, like 29, 12, 3 across 4 games in the championship.
She's in my Mount Rushmore of my favourite WNBA players.
She makes the game winner in the clutch in game 3. But I love Jackie Young, and part of the reason I love Jackie Young is I've seen her play a lot in person because she played for Perth back in 21-22. She was number 1 draft pick. Mm-hmm. It wasn't in her first 2 or 3 years in the league finding her way. She came in as a point guard, but probably is more of a 1-2. But she was just phenomenal. Yeah. And I remember a couple of our athletes at the Boomers saying that she's just incredibly strong. Yeah. But came down here, great story for the WNBL, came down here without really a strong 3-point shot, developed it down here, came back. She shot over 40%. I mean, just incredible. And so the question I think is, can they keep the 3 of them? And in the CBA discussions we've had and the fact that they're all going to be free agents, you sort of hope they're going to stay. But what do you think? I mean,
who does that, outside of wanting to play together and loving playing together, who does that come down to? Or is it the organisation? Are they getting paid enough? Will they leave because they don't get paid enough?
Well, you certainly know that everybody's going to come for them. I find it hard to think of A'ja Wilson not being the face of the Aces. And probably more, why would she not play? Yeah. We might come to Project B a little bit later in the podcast because that's a bit of a wild card that's been introduced. But I think I've got to assume if the money's right,
I feel like they'll stay. If it's just purely about the money and that team gives them what they are asking for and what they're capable of providing, I don't see them
Great
leaving.
Owner, great fans, great venue.
They love the city and the city loves them.
Yeah, I think so. And that they had a 3 and 4 years and they've had winning parades every year. It just seems like a good fit. But
and she's won 4 MVPs.
She's won 4 MVP. I mean, she's on track to be the greatest of all time. And,
absolutely.
So one last thing on the WNBA finals, which is interesting, is the broadcast numbers were higher than previously, which I think is a really good sign for both the WNBA and women's basketball that the audiences, there's a base there now and it's being built. It wasn't huge. It was about 7% up, but really good numbers. So I think it was just good to reflect on that championship win, dynasty, and a lot to come in the WNBA over the next couple of months.
Absolutely.
Let's move on to the new WNBL. So you had, there is a new nickname for you, which is Courtside. We're actually going with that as Beza's nickname. So I turn up to the game at John Cain. We'll come to our likes and dislikes. And I'm sitting about 8 rows back. Pretty good seats, actually.
Those are nice seats.
They were nice seats. And there's Beza sitting front row next to the
beautiful Ecosia.
Next to the beautiful Ecosia and next to the Canberra bench, like two seats away. So tell us first impressions. What did you like about let's talk about the league and what we saw.
Oh, not my courtside seats?
Not your
okay.
Because
they were amazing. Shout out to Sam and the Southside Flyers for hooking that up. I was working, Tony, so I needed premium seats. What I liked
Give me one thing you liked to start with.
I mean, I've said it last time, I say it again, John Cain Arena. Yeah. Being able to watch the women play at that level on that court with those lights, there is something about those lights that's mesmerising. It's so bright. And then I think it's also the being I love watching the crowd. So looking back and watching the crowd watch our girls, that gives me goosebumps because I'm so used to sitting there and watching the crowd watch the men. Yeah. It's so standard, it's expected. Yeah. But to sit there and look at little girls
and boys,
but little girls, when I say when I go, they're looking on the court and being able to go, I could do that. Little boys get that all the time because they look at the boys playing. But watching little girls look at the court and go, that could be me someday. And then same with the little boys being able to go, that could be my sister someday.
I think the platform that it provides, it was just terrific. And we'll come to a couple of dislikes later, but we'll stick with the likes. I'm going to go with, you've mentioned John Cain Arena. I think the broadcast is really solid. I love the 3 commentators, not the 2 commentators. I think that adds a dynamic. They clearly put money, expertise. The broadcast still got a couple of gaps in it in the middle, but they'll figure that out. But I just thought it was everybody was waiting who'd seen the last few years to go, is it going to work first off? It was just terrific.
Yeah. So it was top tier professionalism. Yeah. I was in the corporate function beforehand and it was really beautiful. We heard from Robin Denholm talk about, her excitement to be part of this. And heard from Lauren Jackson talking about She Hoops and her experiences and the support from Southside Flyers. But just hearing from Robin, and it was really inspiring and encouraging to hear her thoughts on where the league's going and how their family will be part of that.
And then, look, this is not a sort of play-by-play podcast, but let's just say 3 players who just stood out for me. I thought Jade Melbourne's performance
100%.
was mature, led a team. Some of the things we talked about in the last podcast, I thought that was really I thought Lauren I went down to Geelong Arena on Saturday night, watched Sydney play Geelong. Lauren Nicholson was just pretty happy with my MVP pick, I can tell you.
We're going to do a segment of just you talking about her.
And then Abby Ellis for Townsville on Sunday. She's a young player, 30 points. Against a really good team. They were headed in the last 5 minutes. We won't get into play-by-play, but she was amazing. She was terrific. And another step, only in the second year as a pro, she was just terrific. So I thought the 3 of them sort of stood out. What are things you saw that you didn't like? Or you maybe
actually,
not
before I jump into that, I just want to say that the person who surprised me in a sense that I haven't seen her play here, but just her athleticism blew me away on the court was Cardi Sissoko.
Yeah, I agree.
You mentioned her last time. To see her up close and personal, she is so tall, but her athleticism, she's long. The way she just naturally runs up and down the court, she's aggressive. Really, really beautiful to watch. So I'm going to be really watching her closely this season.
And Canberra, anyway, Canberra's only going to get a bit stronger, I think. Yeah,
so, absolutely. So I think...
You like to be the positive one, so throw it to me.
I do. I'll throw it to you first because I feel like I know. It's hard for me to say the negatives when I got to see it in John Cain Arena, whereas you got to see it at John Cain and in Geelong, which is 2 very different experiences.
Look, Geelong Arena was. It's just not. It doesn't set the platform for where the league needs to be, and that's no disrespect to the people at Geelong know that they're trying to get a new stadium.
Takes time.
There's no assigned seating when you come in. The names of the players are up, but no stats.
Okay.
It just felt like a better NBL 1 experience, and I think for the league, that's not where they want to be. And again, that's not a critique at the moment because everyone knows that, but it sort of stood out to me. Another one was, this is a top league globally, or wants to be, and wants to be, and really the talent-wise, I thought there were 2 things stood out to me. One is I thought the refereeing, broadly speaking, just allowed way too much physicality. Like, we want these players to be the best players to play. And the Adelaide Perth game, it was like a football game, to be honest. And that's a bit of feedback on that. But probably the one that struck me most was one of my pet matters is these are professional athletes. The free throw percentage across the league was 64%.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
Yeah, which again, look, hey, nobody's trying to miss a free throw. So
no.
But you could argue that Adelaide would have beat Perth if they'd made their free throws at a 80% rate. So that's probably one. And then, look, a little one for me is there's no question this league, the WNBL, has the potential to be the second best league in the world. But I think and that's the aspiration. I just think people within the broadcast or promoting it just need to be careful to say that it is the second best league in the world, because it's not there yet.
On that, do you think that, because if you think about the way Americans promote anything, not just the game, anything, it's we are the best. And whether like they've convinced themselves they are the best, and in the end, often they are the best at most of what they do. And is that something that maybe that's what we're trying to do? Maybe it's the building that, not the overconfidence, but if you don't say it, you're not going to believe it. If you don't hear it, people won't believe it.
Yeah, but I think authenticity is important, particularly when you're trying to create belief amongst people, and you don't need to talk it down, but I think authenticity is, and we also live in a world where, just because you say it doesn't make it true. So I think I'd stick with the authenticity piece, and I think that builds even more confidence then, that people know where you're going, where you're trying to go. And
well, on the authenticity,
it's a minor point.
On the authenticity piece, I think that's one thing that we see, like personalities of players is really important. And if the WNBL can focus on selling the personalities and letting the crowd come in and see who these girls are outside of just these athletes through the social media, and I have seen that that's already started changing with some of these trends. There's been some great trends happening using just, online TikTok and Instagram trends with the girls. But it shows their personalities. It shows a different side to them. One person to me who was always really, really good at doing that was Beck Cole, and she's got a media personality and she's an athlete. And it doesn't mean you have to strive to be a media personality, but let these fans get to know who you are as a person. Let the WNBL make sure that WNBL lets fans know who these girls are as a person, as an individual, as well as an athlete and a team.
No, I absolutely agree. Well, look, we're going to take a break and hear a message from our friends at UNCLOUD.
Some of us have vaped around little brothers and sisters. These kids could be breathing toxic chemicals without them even knowing. I don't think it's worth it vaping at all.
All right, welcome back. Tony, you've mentioned Project B a number of times, and I'm still doing my research and learning a bit more about this space, but I guess for the viewers as well, what is Project B and why is it something that we need to take note of?
Well, it's still early days, and it'd be fair to say there's been some media around it, but not a lot of detail, and certainly not the spokespeople out there. But let's just go to what we know. So come out of nowhere, in a sense. It's a new basketball league for men and women, but starting with the women next November. So November 26, only a year from today. And the aim of it, backed by very, very serious money. So we're talking scalability that is way beyond, frankly, the WNBA. And with some Saudi money as part of that, as part of their whole sports strategy, which is a whole different topic. But concept appears to be 6 teams. So more of a tour system, 2 weeks in one spot, 6 different stopping points. The chief basketball officer, very credible, WNBA legend in Alana Beard, and some interesting names as advisors, including Australia's own GOAT in Lauren Jackson. So I think the interesting thing for me anyway in this is just another complete disruptor potentially. So let's hypothetically say, Beza, that you are Brianna Stewart's agent. One of the best, arguably best 3 players in the world. I would have thought pretty comfortably. And you are offered $5 million US to play in Project B and commit to that. Now you're an owner and a founder of Unrivaled, and you are a WNBA superstar. Maybe in the new CBA might be earning $500,000 rather than the $250,000. What are you going to say? You have to think about it, wouldn't you?
So you would have to think about it.
Life-changing.
It couldn't be just a no instantly, because what are the numbers they're talking about for some of the salaries?
They haven't got that far.
There's been some rumours, and they're talking in the millions.
We're talking multi-millions. And particularly also remember another factor in this is, so let's say hypothetically we're going to pay you a number that you couldn't say no to. And am I going to let you play in the WNBA? Because, the risk of injury.
As an agent who
or
wants,
as a league.
As a league, but as an agent, if I'm talking to my player, to my client, the risk of injury is really important. Also longevity of that player. But also I'm looking at my player and going, okay, how many more years do you have in the league? How many more years do I think you could have in the league? Okay, well, if we did Project B, maybe we could double that.
Yep.
And you're already quadrupling.
More than double. I mean,
quadrupling that money as well. It's like some of the rumors I've heard about how much people are potentially getting paid. The comparison is $250,000 for the WNBA player if they stay in the league, and they're talking $10 million for one season.
Now, let's even say those numbers are a bit.
Even if it was $5 million, like it's
scalable.
It's insane.
And it's very, the analogy would be, for those that follow their golf, the PGA Tour, which is the WNBA, and Live Golf. And players have literally gone to live golf because of, one, money, but also lifestyle, because they only have to play 20 weeks a year rather than 35 weeks a year. So that one's it's been a bit of a bomb dropped. I think we've got a lot more to see what comes of that. And
it's going to continue to bring up conversations about equity and pay in women's sports.
Headquartered in Singapore. Middle of Asia.
And they also talked about Dubai, Sydney and London as potentially being... Which,
so watch this space. So we'll keep our tabs on it. Really some interesting developments in the new WNBL around some really good import signings. So we talked about Han Yu in the last episode, and that's been officially announced now.
The secret that you may have known about that you won't tell us who the source was.
That was another one. That was the second one, which I'll get to in a minute, which is Olivia Apupa, who is just a terrific French player, played here for Canberra in a championship, has been in their national team over the last decade. She's a real personality, 5'4" and fast, but great
Pocket
rebound. So she's going to be interesting when she gets on the court, which I think will be very soon. Whereas Hanyu will be here, I think, in December. And Hayley Peters was the one that sneaked in. We saw her on the weekend. Hadn't got a lot of publicity, but she played the entire season with Connecticut. Got a strong background in Europe, American, really good, solid player, probably lower profile. And then Brianna Turner turns up in Perth to fill in before Hanyu gets there,
I was shocked about that. It's very exciting.
Yeah, very. So she's there for 8 weeks, and just the way these rules work is you can have a player come in as a replacement player and so on. So that was.
But what a replacement player! You've got Brianna Turner being replaced by Hanyu.
So Perth are. Maybe we'd have to review our selections now we know, but equally they almost got done by Adelaide on the weekend. Anyway, we're not going to talk game by game. Let's talk a little bit about the WNBA Head Coach roundabout. So a lot of discussion and where's Sandy Brondella going to land. I've had a couple of people share with me that, so Portland have announced their new coach. He's from outside the WNBA. Interesting background. But Sandy is sort of seen as one of the key pieces to drop first before some of the other decisions might. Does she end up in Dallas with that really talented Paige Becker's roster? Does she end up in Seattle, established?
With some of our Aussies.
Or does she go to Toronto with a brand new franchise? So I think we should see something on that in the next 2 to 3 weeks. And then a really interesting one with her, just as a sidelight, was her husband, Olaf, was announced as the head coach of Germany. He is German, right? And he is a long-time assistant with Sandy at Phoenix and New York. But they could play each other in the World Cup next year. How would that be?
How about standing next to / opposite your husband?
What would the kids
partner
say? Who are the kids going to support?
Oh, that's a hard one.
What do you reckon?
I mean, the kids are Aussie, so they're going to have to go for. As a country, I think,
with all due respect, I think the kids are German as well. So I don't know. I'm not sure.
I don't know. Maybe they might split purposely, just for a bit of family rivalry. My family is half Crows, and the rivalry is great. So maybe they'll do that just for.
We'll follow that one as it comes. Couple other little things. There's a lot going on around the world. EuroLeague has started, and I think no question unrivaled. And we haven't even talked about Athletes Unlimited is another one. And interestingly, Athletes Unlimited, which is an athlete league for about 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks in February. 8 of the players out of the WNBA Finals are playing in Athletes Unlimited, which is really interesting because
Yeah.
not the stars, but
but
that just takes another 8 players out of
yeah.
EuroLeague, China, and also obviously the WNBL in Australia. So that's EuroLeague starting. There's a story about a potential from Adam Silver, the WNBA playing in China, a game in China, a regular season game. Yeah. That'd be pretty cool. But why not Australia? I mean, that'd be pretty cool. I think
the thing is, like, Australia has, first of all, we have great coffee. We've got great beaches.
Great venues.
We've got great venues. We've got great fan loyalty. So why don't we get those sorts of games? We're missing is, we're literally, the only thing we're missing is ESPN Asia money.
Absolutely. Well, and the other bit is governments are, determined to support women's sport. I just think it's, and I'm sure there are people out there thinking about it, but if it's not on the radar, it definitely should be, because we saw the success of the NBA in Melbourne.
Yep. But also the way it gets promoted, like with the NBA coming to Melbourne, the way that got promoted when I think it was last year, a year and a half ago, when they had Australia versus was it Brazil, South Sudan, and they had the 4 or 5 countries playing against each other here, a global game. I was there when they started promoting that outside of Rod Laver, and you've got the Minister of Sport, Minister Demopoulos there. You've got all of this excitement building up and leading up to the promotion of that. The same thing needs to happen for the women. The same thing needs to happen to give those opportunities for these international games and teams to come here, because there's no reason to me why a WNBA team can't come here and do the same thing that the Pelicans
or even
did.
A regular season game during the season.
Absolutely.
You'd probably bring 2, but you bring 2 teams, and no, it's very doable, and I think it would again add to that whole belief around the growth. Yeah. You'd stick it at probably Rod Laver as much as at John Cain Arena and see how it goes. So,
basketball is a global game. Women's basketball has exploded, and women's basketball is literally leading that when it comes to the way people see female athletes in sport and how we can come around it. So hopefully we can see that change.
So there's no doubt there's plenty happening, but we have come to the end. So I'm going to throw to you. We've had some really nice feedback. I would say as well, I've mainly about you, I'd have to say, not a lot about me, but it's not about me, but they certainly love you and certainly wonder why you are my friend, but that's okay. But yeah, just a message for our fans. And
one thing I want to say is I love the conversations that are happening online. We see it on our socials, especially YouTube. YouTube has been amazing. I think the last time I looked, it was almost 100 comments, might be even more now, of people just going back and forth and engaging on the topic
stay
of
positive
conversation.
Though, guys.
Please stay positive. I respond to them as well.
But positive.
But I will also be looking at those comments for questions. So if people have questions, if you want to be part of the segment, send through some questions. Let us know what you want to talk about or what's happening that gets you excited or interested, or even any rumours. We love a juicy rumour. So stay tuned, keep listening. Spotify, Apple, YouTube. We love having you here. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, everyone.